State your business. Please step away. This entry is for high-priority HHC business only. Huh. I didn't realize we were still using those iridescent stickers. But this looks right. I'll just need you to register your weapons with a revised request to carry 32B form. Each weapon will need a separate form. It's procedure. Now, let's see. Damn it. When did I run out of forms? Well, how nice for you. Do you have any idea how long it takes to request new forms? Or how many citations I'll get for impeding HHC business in the meantime? Just know there are a bunch of guards upstairs and they're all high on dervish mist and low on patience. So try anything funny, and they'll paint the walls with your guts.
If I never smell another Wrapped, it'll be too soon.
Weren't you a Sawbones? Figured you ought to have smelled worse.
Sure, but those things reek like bad cologne. It's different.
I'm with you there. At least humans have the courtesy to wait a while before their bodies start to stink.
Most of them.
If you'll forgive my saying so, that outfit looks splendid on you. Personal assistant to Adjutant Akande and Chairman Rockwell. I'm also responsible for organizing the adjutant's stationery, which is more of a hobby. Ah. Oh, you were being serious. I'm obliged to inform you that Chairman Rockwell is unavailable for an indeterminate duration. Will there be anything else? Excuse me, just a moment. I beg your pardon, Minister Clark's former office is currently closed to solicitors. What? Oh dear. Thank you for reminding me. I can't stand the thought of someone else's hands touching my custom letterheads.
Just goes to show you never really see your hometown till you travel with a visitor.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed. But I can assure you there's nothing to fear. We've got a solution. It's called the Lifetime Employment Program. We will freeze most of the colony to preserve resources, while the best and brightest of Byzantium continue living in prosperity. Look, you idiots! How many times do I have to tell you we can't say shit like that? Fire whoever wrote this! While Halcyon's brightest minds solve the problem of our nutritional shortage, the rest of the colony will be placed in suspended animation. Individuals will be revived on a rotating basis, so that every Halcyon can be part of the important work of saving our colony. By testing paperweights. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's go again. And someday, in the not-too-distant future when we've solved this crisis, we'll all be back together again working for the good of Halcyon. Until then, the board shall provide for the deserving just as it always has. So, obey your supervisors, take your vitamins, follow your corporate-mandated grooming rituals, and rest assured with the board on your side, there is nothing to worry about.
Guess the whole colony's up a creek. I thought it was just Monarch.
I don't know about you, but I'm all for living fast and dying young.
You grew up in Byzantium, right?
Don't rub it in.
Oh, don't get all prickly. I just haven't met someone who left the high life on purpose.
I'm from there, but I'm not really from there, if you follow.
If you see any sprats loose up here, definitely don't touch them.
Not so fast. The Ministry of Accuracy and Morale is off limits to everyone without X-36 level clearance.
It's okay. I'm a doctor.
I don't care if you're a brain surgeon. If you don't work here, or for Chairman Rockwell himself, you're not getting in.
Worth a try. You'd be surprised how often that works.
Like I said, X-36 clearance only beyond this point. I don't know how you got that, but I still don't know you, and I don't have any new clearances on the list.
I think I'm gonna start taking my lunches out in the city. That woman from downstairs is still in the cafeteria.
That scientist? The one who's been hounding the clerks? Ooh, gives me the shudders, too.
They're all pretty unpleasant. What do you think they actually do down there?
Best not to ask. Remember that one clerk?
Sure. Heading back.
Sure.
On my way.
Looking good, soldier.
So what if all those MSI suits made it on Monarch this whole time? I could do it. Easy.
Huh? No visitors allowed, citizen. I'm gonna need to see some identification. What? I don't need to see your identification. Move along.
What's this I hear about you ordering more tests performed with sample 4157? That batch failed spectacularly.
I saw a variance in the results that we never accounted for, so I had the techs run the trial again. And the results were 0.003% different this time.
Do the words statistically insignificant mean anything to you?
Of course, but we're obligated to explore every possibility.
We're obligated to get a working formula before Akande has us all in tanks to help test the next batch of samples. Now get to work. Move along.
was that? Better take a look.
Huh? No visitors allowed, citizen. I'm going to need to see some identification. What? That's what I asked you. That's what I asked you. That's what I asked you.
This area is for authorized personnel only. You're not supposed to be here, are you? I guess that's what I was wondering. When you put it that way, it does sound pretty unlikely. Still, you should go. I don't think the other guards will be as rational about this as I am. Something...
Making it look easy.
Trespassing in the Ministry of Accuracy and Morale is punishable by death. You've got one chance to explain why I shouldn't blow you away right now. Hang on. Haven't I seen you somewhere before? I know. You were in some of the demo footage for that new picture they're filming. You were incredible. I really want to see it, and I know it hasn't been finished yet. Tell you what, I'll let you go this one time, but you've got to go pronto, okay?
If you don't mind my saying, you have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person as they do in my reports. And my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You've had quite a career. I'm glad to hear that. This may come as a surprise, but I happen to enjoy your work. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. Today the region is profitable for the first time in years. Its workers are productive. They might even be happy. All this happened because some mysterious stranger fell out of the sky. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. There's exactly one vessel in all of Byzantium that looks like it dropped out of an Aetherwave drama. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. I want to convince you to turn him in to us. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. His plan is going to endanger everyone in Halcyon. He's an obsessive psychopath. And he's using you. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. Wells was our mistake. We failed to apprehend him for years. I'm asking you to help me correct that mistake. I'm sending you my access code. Contact me from Wells's terminal. When you're done, come speak to me in my office.
Adjutant Akande's call has been terminated. Will there be anything else, Captain? We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I congratulate myself, or would you like to do the honors? Please avoid damaging yourself or others.
I've kept myself busy in your absence, optimized my formula. I'm now confident I can revive the remaining colonists. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take as much as you can give me. What? Oh, yes, well, that's obvious. Anyone with 2 working labs can see this colony's slouching toward oblivion. Why do you think we've been doing all this? I revived you to help me save Halcyon from annihilation. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse, and the chairman's plan to save all of us is to save himself? I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. The board made this crisis, and now they want to solve it by freezing the rest of us? That's not a plan. That's a goddamn escape clause. That makes 2 things we don't have. Time and chemicals to revive the other settlers. None of this was supposed to happen. I was supposed to revive the Hope's colonists. We were supposed to have enough time to solve the problem before we all starved. Human test subjects? Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. I'm just sorry they came at the cost of human lives. Those poor people, they must have died in agony. What exactly was the board trying to accomplish? You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? Well, they're nowhere close to solving that problem. I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of fruitless experimentation, they've made exactly 0 progress. I used to work for these people. I'm intimately familiar with the utter incompetence of the board's own scientists. We're out of time. We're out of chemicals. We may very well be out of options. If the board has their way, we're all going to be spending the rest of our lives frozen in stasis. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss them out into space, just to make room in their hibernation chambers. Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the board. The board's going to dispose of them all and transform the Hope into a prison for the rest of us. They're likely on their way to the Hope as we speak. We need to get to those colonists before the board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. Merciful gibbering law, you're a genius! We bring the Hope to us, skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space, right next to my lab. Yes, exactly. You're a step ahead of me, but I perceive the shape of your plan. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I've got a healthy disregard for personal safety, but this sounds crazy, even to me.
Your instincts are correct. By any reasonable definition of sanity, this plan is crazy. Isn't it wonderful? You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then head to the bridge. Your navigational computer, Ada, should be able to activate the Hope's skip drive. Once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. I can start reviving them immediately. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why, I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers, scientists, engineers, experts in their field. If we work together, we can still find a way to save Halcyon. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. If there's even the slightest chance we can save Halcyon from oblivion, then we have to take it. You absolutely should. Sarcasm, the last refuge of the witless. The adjutant must have sent you some kind of tracking code. If you don't use the code, she'll suspect you betrayed her. I think you should use the code and send a corrupted tracking signal. That should buy me some time. The enemy is bound to discover my hideout sooner or later. I'm prepared for that eventuality. This is just my way of buying myself a little time. Use my communications terminal to corrupt the tracking signal. While the board busies themselves trying to decipher it, I'll have plenty of time to prepare my defenses.
What could go wrong?
That should do it. You've bought me more than enough time.
Captain, I hope you have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
I'm impressed, Captain. I almost expected you wouldn't go through with it. Unfortunately, Dr. Wells found a way to corrupt the signal before we could pinpoint his location. Still, it's only a matter of time before we find him. Come visit me in Byzantium. We need to have a talk about the future of this colony. Because I'm not in the business of arresting my own allies. You have my word. Meet me in my office. I've authorized your ship at my personal landing pad.
Adjutant Akande has ended her call. Rather rudely, if I might say, considering she didn't sign off. Will there be anything else, Captain?
Dead center. Next round's on you.
Shh, the captain's coming. Put your gun away. Act casual.
Oh, yes. This'll about do. That's a mighty clean weapon. Yep. Ain't no call for a closer inspection by anybody.
Can we talk? So we're really gonna do this? I've seen lots of crazy, Captain, but Phineas is in a class of his own. Do you really think he knows what he's doing? Sending us to skip the Hope into Terra 2's orbit right under the board's nose? There's a sobering thought. Makes me want to drink. I think his whole plan's insane, but it'll make a good story, you know, if we survive. Speaking of, I get that Phineas thinks he's saving the colony, but what about you? Why risk your neck on this crazy scheme? I'll do anything for a good story, and nothing shines on a pirate's resume like a successful suicide mission. I asked you first. Coming from anyone else, that would sound like a line from one of those Odeon Pictures movies, but I think you really mean it. Still, all this depends on the other Hope colonists. Are they gonna pull us out of the shit, or are we all just gonna leave a bigger, uglier stain on this corner of the galaxy? This is why I like you, Captain. Well, whenever you're ready to do this, I'm with you. Anything else?
Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgon. Should have known better. But I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money, was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain. There's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
I just want to say, we gotta take this job. This is the closest I ever been to starring in a serial drama. Only thing we're missing is a couple cameras and a soundtrack.
At least this won't be boring.
Lucky Montoya owed Captain Hawthorne a considerable debt. I believe this is what humans refer to as payback. Captain, the message contains landing coordinates for a small asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. It was recently registered to a Wilhelmina Ambrose. He was an old friend of Alex Hawthorne's. Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant tendency to encounter situations of extreme danger.
He liked to show off his battle scars. I get the feeling he won't be flashing this one around.
He was also the fourth best paid freelancer in the system. There are several hundred freelancers operating in Halcyon. Considering the numbers, Mr. Montoya ranked among the top percentile. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes, which rank at or below average, than with a pattern of fortunate circumstances. Luck does not exist, Captain. Nevertheless, I am programmed to agree with your assessment. I have transferred the coordinates for Ambrose Manor to your navigation terminal. We can travel there when you are ready. Sending a corrupted tracking signal to the board was quite clever, if I might say, Captain. We've arrived at Ambrose Manor.
Welcome to Ambrose Manor. We were not expecting company. Please follow. Do not stray from the path.
Aw, that's no fun.
Been there, little guy.
Weary. Are you upside down? This unit expresses dismay.
Keep your guard up. Could be all manner of surprises in there.
At the very least, there ought to be something worth stealing in there. Okay, maybe not.
I take it back. Ain't nothing here but memories.
Apparently not. Oh, join me for a drink, Mr. Whoever you are. So who the devil are you? You don't say. Well, make yourself at home, Captain. I'm sure we have much to discuss. Do you see that glowing chunk of space rock? That's Gorgon. My birthright, my burden, and the bane of my existence. I hate to drink alone, and this is my third. So join me in raising a glass. To Gorgon. To Gorgon. May cosmic winds shepherd her to the nearest star. I'm Wilhelmina Ambrose, but you can keep it short and call me Minnie. Now, what brings you to my house, handsome? I take it you didn't come all this way for the beverages, the starry skies, or the pleasant company. A severed arm? How positively ghoulish. You know this is a private residence, not a curio shop? Lucky Montoya is my personal freelancer. Fascinating man. Very brooding and theatrical. Always staring into space and twirling a bullet over his knuckles. He's definitely not doing that anymore. But if something happened to him... Oh dear. I suppose that makes him my former freelancer now? I sent Lucky on a dangerous mission to the Gorgon asteroid. Whoever found his remains must have wanted to inform the next of kin. What a time for his luck to run out, We were in the middle of something grand, and I really can't afford another setback. Settling an old score. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
Remember, play hard to get. That's negotiation. You're awful quick to trust a bunch of strangers that broke into your home.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands. My mother, Dr. Olivia Ambrose, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgon Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. I wish I could say otherwise. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgon. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgon, and I just know they're lying. Whatever happened on Gorgon wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth, kicking and screaming, into the light. Even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's Choice. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgon, in the heart of the old research facility. I'm not surprised. Between the family drama and the corporate conspiracy, you must feel like you've stepped on a landmine. Speak freely, Captain. I suspect it will prove that corporate greed and incompetence were to blame for the calamity at Gorgon, and not Mother. Mother was a brilliant woman. Difficult, cold, unreachable even, but brilliant. Then my family's disgrace, our curse, will be absolute. This is my last hope of redeeming the Ambrose name. I don't like my chances, but I have to try. And I need help. Your help. I didn't want to go anywhere near Gorgon. Once I exhausted all my options, the search led me back here. I even had Mother declared legally dead. Would you believe it took 5 years to process the paperwork? It isn't as bad as you make it sound, but technically, yes. Mother's body is still on Gorgon. No body means no death certificate, which means no inheritance. I killed Mother, just on paper, of course, so I could claim my inheritance. We wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have access to the family fortune. Damn, wish I'd thought of that. I once assumed the mansion and the money would be enough to redeem the Ambrose name. But even in Byzantium, prestige must be earned, and it can so easily be lost. You know, some people work hard just to break out. Break back into high society, yes. I'm trying to do several things at once. None of them easy. The smear campaign against Mother was the work of cowards. I'm vindicating the family name for her, for the colony, and for my future. Everything that Mother lost. This colony is in trouble. The lunatics at Spacer's Choice are running the asylum, and we need better people to wield their influence. After Gorgon, I quickly discovered that the Ambrose name was cursed, for lack of a better term. I had no place among the decision-makers. No seat at the table.
That's Byzantium for you. Gossip mongering's a bigger sport than tossball.
That is why I'm clearing the record and vindicating the Ambrose line. For Mother, for me, and for the generations who will one day inherit Halcyon. I know it will. You know as much as I do, I'm afraid. Spacer's Choice abandoned Gorgon, but the asteroid is far from unoccupied. Between the marauders, the wildlife, and whatever escaped the labs, danger abounds. Your guess is as good as mine. I know that Spacer's Choice bred canids, especially for Gorgon. They were supposed to act as living cattle prods. By now, they've probably gone feral. Just watch yourself. If you aren't careful, you stand to lose more than an arm. I believe that covers it all. Are you ready to get started? We mustn't allow the trail to get cold. I admire your enthusiasm. This manor has echoed with my ennui, and I can feel you breathing new life into the walls. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
I think I've heard of that place. Cheap whiskey, rough crowd. You'll love it.
I ought to stop in and taste the local flavor.
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? A consummate professional. That shouldn't be a problem. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
Salvage rights and a paycheck? This is almost too good to be true.
It's not theft if she's giving us permission.
is under construction. Thank you for your...
We are now in orbit above Gorgon.
Well, here we... Hey, is that a saloon? I feel better already.
Please evacuate in an orderly fashion. Spacer Hewitt is not responsible for death, dismemberment, or frontline trauma.
Supplies if you need them. No one lasts long on Gorgon unprepared. You looking for supplies, stranger? Let's stock up here. If you run low on bullets out in Gorgon's far reaches, there ain't no one round here liable to help you out. Let me know if you're looking for something particular. You mean you came out to this asteroid without knowing nothing about it? Me too. Heard it was wild here and couldn't resist. Trouble is, if you wander off to somewhere you oughtn't be, like way out in Gorgon's farthest reaches, odds are slimmer of your bits finding their way to my pockets. If you want my advice, stick close to the Sprat Shack, unless you fancy having your limbs torn off and eaten. All right, you know you better than I do. Just be sure you watch out for the Marauders. That's the #1 thing. Oh, and the Mants. You watch out for Marauders, Mants, and Charles from accounting, and you'll probably be fine. Only the meanest Marauder on Gorgon, and also anywhere else. That man is crazier than a bag of canids and twice as likely to bite. He will bust your head open like an overripe mock apple if he so much as sees you. I ain't joking. He'll snap you in half like stale bread noodles. No, you don't get it. Charles from accounting is like... Imagine if you took 3 of the most howling mad Marauders you could find and mashed them together. That's Charles.
Yeah, except Marauders will go from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye.
You ain't listening to me, huh? Well, I warned you. If you run off and get exploded to death by a madman with a rocket launcher now, that's on you. Sure, okay. He's got a rocket launcher. Couldn't say. He kills anyone who gets close enough to ask. Look, long story short, you do not fuck with Chuck. Best to avoid the Marauder camp entirely. That's my 2 bits on the matter. Huh? Oh, you don't gotta worry about that. It's got something to do with that scrapped Spacer's Choice project from way back. Damn alarm's been hollering at us for 5 years if it's been a day. You know, I don't dream anymore. It's all, please evacuate in an orderly fashion. I won't stop you if you want to have a go at it. But so you know, it's gonna take more than giving that control terminal a good old-fashioned pummeling. I know, because even Von Hoffman couldn't bash it in. And I seen that tough son of a gun throw a man clean across the Sprat Shack one time like he were a toss ball. Only that Spacer's Choice shut it down in a big hurry. From what I heard, some of their folks got left behind even. Don't seem like the project ended well. Found a pickaxe in the mine like none I've ever seen before. Could be awful useful if you're the violent type.
Come here. Let's have a chat. All right, inspection time. Look at my eyes for as long as you can without blinking. Starting now. Good. Look up. Now look down. You're doing swell. Now, name and occupation. Good enough for me. You're cleared to pass. That was a sanity check. If you had changed like the others, it'd be in your eyes. You'd also be drooling, cursing, and making a mess of the place. Welcome to the Sprat Shack. You can head on downstairs. Every day, salvagers and scrappers set out to comb the ruins and make their fortune. The ones who come back, they aren't always the same men or women who left. They change. Never for the better. First, they get real twitchy and paranoid, shouting at folks who aren't there. Then they smell like they soiled themselves, on account of how they soiled themselves. After that, they're gone. Nothing but animals wearing human skin. Seen it happen myself. It's never pretty. This is the Sprat Shack, the most remote watering hole in the system. Rule number 1, no fighting. Rule number 2, wipe your feet on the way downstairs. We're the only hospitable place on this rock. I want to keep it that way. That's why we have rule number 3. When people change, they stay outside, where they belong. Just don't ask me to dance. Bouncer, bodyguard, law enforcer. I make sure the Sprat Shack gets only the highest caliber of clientele.
And I thought this place was gonna be fun.
Well, I hope you look the other way just this once.
We get a lot of brand-loyal corporate types, and a lot of cutthroat freelancer types. Both sides have their share of dirty scoundrels. And I hate dirt. This is a sublight bar, so most of our regulars come to plunder the old labs. The facility's locked up behind miles of red tape, so progress is slow. A lot of time to drink and reevaluate, then venture out and try again. Something bad happened here. Spacer's Choice was developing chemicals. The kind with nasty side effects. Marauders outnumber the rest of us 10 to 1. Either they came from Gorgon, or something draws them here. I don't know which is worse. This place is under a dark cloud, stranger. That's all I know. If you want the history of the Sprat Shack, talk to Lex behind the bar. If you're heading downstairs, order something sweet.
Smell that? Cheap whiskey and stale cigarettes. My kind of place.
Been an age since I had a good trip of kale. Hope they've got it on tap.
Are you my agent on the ground?
Sorry?
I've been sent to meet a certain someone about a certain piece of merchandise. They're supposed to use a secret code phrase.
Can't help you. I'm just here to drink.
That's the code phrase. It is you.
Quiet down. You're making a scene.
I don't know. Did you bring the goods?
Welcome to the Sprat Shack. First one's on the house, and I won't even water it down. What'll it be? Bottoms up. I assume you're here for salvage. Can't help you there. This ain't exactly a library. Most of my regulars are sublight scavengers. They pick over the ruins of Gorgon, spend their earnings at the bar, and head back out the next day. Vicious cycle, but that's life. You're the first new face I've seen in a while. Lucky. Sure, I knew him. He could get a little dramatic at times, but he was a good guy. Heard he took on a dangerous job. Spent a lot of time coming and going from the Office of Creative Incubation, just down the road. The way he talked about the job, you just knew Lucky had hit pay dirt. Not that I was jealous. Around here, that sort of luck can be hazardous to your health. Awful shame about what happened to him. You really want to hear my story? Law, most everyone around here is sick to death of it by now. Last I saw of Lucky was a few days ago. I went outside for a smoke and a stroll, and I saw this wild canid dragging a bloody limb. So I kicked the canid, scared it off. Get this, the canid was chewing on an honest-to-law human arm. Lucky's arm. I'm a bartender. Attention to detail is my middle name. Anyway, the arm was clutching a phonograph that mentioned someone named Alex Hawthorne. I did some poking around, and this Hawthorne has a reputation among the salvagers who frequent the bar. So I packaged up the arm nice and tidy and sent it care of the Halcyon Parcel Service. They even gave me a discount on the hazardous waste removal stamp. I figured Hawthorne would want to know what happened to his pal. Help Lucky get his affairs in order, you know. Oh, I hate to see people go with unfinished business. 3rd floor. Once I figured he wasn't coming back to pay his tab, I left his room unlocked to air it out. You can help yourself to anything you left behind. Fair warning, I've been letting the regulars use it for a quick lie down. Just wash your hands when you're done. Trust me.
Yes and no. The Sprat Shack used to be a shipping and receiving warehouse during the old Project Gorgon days. When Spacer's Choice pulled their guys off-world, Sublight moved in to salvage what we could, and they put me in charge. Yes and no. Rumor has it there's a Sprat wandering around the Groundbreaker, and he's the legal owner of the Sprat Shack. Hagen's idea. See, Hagen didn't want a paper trail that led back to her, so she gave the bar to the Sprat. If there were any legal problems with this place, the Sprat would do the time.
You know, they do something similar in Byzantium. Fancier system, but same idea.
Anyway, that's what the paperwork says. I don't make the rules. I know there's paperwork backing it up. You put enough stamps and staples on anything, I'm pretty sure it's legal by default. The beautiful thing is, no one could tell Matt Sprat apart from an ordinary vermin. I think that's kind of the point, to send the authorities on a wild Sprat chase. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. The Sprat Shack's gone through a lot of title holders over the years. As far as business arrangements go, this one's a head-scratcher, but they say it's all above board, so that's what matters. Yes and no. We're doing a lot more than squatting. We're classing up the joint, keeping the riffraff outside where it belongs. They didn't even serve drinks until I arrived. Talk about wasted potential. Yes and no. Again, that one was Hagen's idea. She told me that speaking in vague terms keeps you out of trouble, and I don't want any trouble in my place. Thirsty people come and go from all over the colony, mostly on the way to somewhere better. Some are well-connected, and not everyone pays with bits. That's how we get the unconventional goods anyhow. Sublight keeps us well-stocked with the essentials, by which I mean booze. Spacer's Choice used to brew pharmaceuticals in these parts. That's why the asteroid smells like an old gym sock. They say Adrenatime came from here, just down the road at the old R&D lab. Very hush-hush back in the day. Roscoe might tell you more. He spent some time around here before the bar opened up, and I trust him well enough. There's always Leonora, my favorite customer over in the storage room on the second floor. Keeps to herself and always closes out her tab. He's been here since opening day. I think he told me he was some kind of journalist. He got left behind when Spacer's Choice pulled out, and I guess no one's coming to get him. He didn't tell me and I didn't ask. I'm his bartender, not his human resources rep. If you believe the chatter, a lot of good folks got left behind, and a lot of bad folks made it out. Sometimes that's all there is to it. Roscoe's drinks are on the house. We all know how it feels to get left behind. He'll be all right. He's with the family now, and we take care of our own. Nice lady. Been coming around a lot these past few months. She isn't with Sublight, but seems to know the lay of the land better than anyone. She spends most of her days drinking alone. I think she's looking to hire someone, if you're open to a side gig. Now that you mention it, I thought I saw those two sharing stories over a pint. Didn't think twice about it. I don't speak ill of the dead, but Leonora deserves better company. That Lucky was no good for her. What are friends for, eh? I doubt anyone knows the full story. One day the evacuation order went out. Grunts and lab coats scrambled to get anywhere but Gorgon. And the weirdest thing of all, Adrenatime still hit the market. Me, I never touch the stuff. To each their own, but I think it's dangerous. Damn right we are. We've got drugs, scrap metal, prototype weapons, drugs, money, and more drugs. When Spacer's Choice evacuated, everyone dropped their gear and ran. Most of it stayed where it fell, and all of it is up for grabs. Of course, the real treasure is whatever's locked up in the old facility. Until someone figures a way to crack it open, we're just sifting through dirt. You got it, bub. Be seeing you.
You're a humbug, Trixie, and worse, a thief.
I can't steal what's lawfully mine, you tangle-footed dimwit.
Bring it up, you two. I've heard more than enough of your shit for one day.
That was my salvage, Trixie. You had no right to it then, and you've no right to it now. Don't you be getting any ideas.
I risked my life sneaking around Marauders to claim that wreck. And I didn't see your name on it.
Now you've done it. Eat fist!
All right, that's enough! This is a family establishment! You want to make a mess? You make it outside!
But this was personal, Lex. It's a question of salvage. That wreck was gonna make me a fortune.
That's what I've been trying to tell him, but he won't listen.
It's the same fight every day. 5 years we've been at this, and we still can't agree on how to properly tag salvage. Now you two listen, this is my place. While you're in the Sprat Shack, you'll sit quietly, or I'll forbid you to come here at all. Is that understood?
Here, here. Boys are for drinking. The poor decisions that result are better left outside.
Fair's fair. I'll have a stout, and we'll settle this later on our own terms.
It's no good to leave a fight unresolved. If I don't do something, these two are gonna be at each other's throats. Would you do me a favor and weigh in as a third party? I can use an unbiased set of eyes on the problem, and an outsider like you fits the bill. Freddy, Trixie, go on and make your case to the generous stranger.
I'll start, seeing as I'm the one who's been most wronged in this equation. Oh, very formal. Freddy the Scab, freelancer for sublight salvage and shipping, same as my father before me.
Junkyard Trixie, also a salvage freelancer, though I've been at it longer than Freddy.
So, just up the road and due east of here, there's a shipwreck lodged in the mountainside, right? I staked my claim on that wreck. Then I wandered in for a drink. An hour later, Trixie swaggers in bragging about her salvage. Ugh, the nerve of some people. I climbed on top of it and called out in my loudest voice, "Finders keepers!" What if I were to sweeten the deal? Say the salvage is mine, and I'll give you a share of the finder's fee.
Bullshit. That ain't fair. When I found the shipwreck, there were no salvage mark. See, the whole area was teeming with bloodthirsty marauders. So I snuck around and added my tag, clear as day so no drunken idiots could claim the salvage out from under me, Freddy.
For the record, when I heard the marauders coming, I left. Trixie must have set her mark down after me.
Quit leading the prosecution, Hullhead. Anyway, that's my story, sir. I drew next in the dirt, with my toe. Wouldn't surprise me in the least, but that doesn't mean it ain't mine.
In all my years, I've never heard a more contentious argument. I don't envy your shoulders for bearing the weight of responsibility. You've heard it from them both. So, who gets the salvage?
That ain't no kind of fair.
He ain't even from around here, Lex.
Here's a six-pack on the house, plus your fee. Maybe now we'll finally get some peace around here for a change. A little too often, if you ask me, but that's the sublight way. Anything worth doing is worth fighting over. Come and chat if you're ever feeling thirsty.
We could always go back and rile him up again later.
Smooth talking, Cap.
I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
I wouldn't get too close to that railing, just in case.
Repurposed aesthetic reminds me of Fallbrook. These sublight folks really know how to overhaul.
I'm gonna love this place. You don't look like one of the salvagers, no? Don't really seem like the type. You've got the look of someone who's traveled far to get here, and whose journey is far from over. Confidence. The scavengers around here, they're faking it. You're the real deal. I don't know if you're bound for the old ruins, but in case you are, can you look into something? I'd do it myself, but of course, the Marauders would eat me alive. Looking for something out there. Been paying Sublight to help me, but they haven't made much progress. It is to me, but apparently it's junk to Sublight. My husband and I worked on Gorgon during the good times. Jerome was on maintenance duty. I cleaned out test tubes till they sparkled. Getting the hell off Gorgon. In his final hours, Gorgon was a war zone. Violence broke out in the labs. The hills were full of marauders. You couldn't take a leisurely stroll without an armed escort. When the order came through to evacuate, non-essential personnel drew a lottery to see who would board the first wave of ships. Jerome won. I lost. As soon as I wasn't looking, Jerome switched our tickets and pushed me to the front of the line. I got to leave. Jerome stayed behind. I never saw him again. That Jerome always chose the right thing, even when it got him killed. This place is greedy. It took my Jerome, and it would have taken me too. I just want one thing back. His old hip flask. I gave it to him the day we signed our marriage contract, and he carried it wherever he went. I know it's still here. No point in denying it, he died on this rock. Likely torn apart by marauders, unless he took care of himself on his own terms. I don't like to imagine what happened, but I know I have to accept it. You'd really do that for me? Law, and I'll bet you're worth 10 of those Sublight sprats. I don't have much, but if you help me, there's a little set aside for the occasion. Jerome used to drink with his buddies in a small kitchen opposite the maintenance shed. Might be a good place to check first. Yeah? That old flirt? Yeah, I let him buy me a drink or two. He talked my ear off about exciting jobs he'd done. All lies, I'm sure. He fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. That man had baggage like you wouldn't believe. I didn't think anyone could be lonelier than me. He bragged about having the key to some sort of maintenance area in one of the old buildings. I never saw it, so I just assumed he was talking himself up. He also asked if I wanted to see something gross and slimy he kept in his room, but I declined, politely. He put on quite a front, but I think he was weary, like he'd seen too much and had too little to show for it. Guess we were kindred spirits in a way. Sure thing. My condolences if you two were close. The lab coats kept quiet about the project, but the air was charged with excitement. You could feel it wherever you went. They wanted to change the world. A tenfold boost to worker productivity with no side effects? Who wouldn't salivate at the thought? I don't know what went wrong, but when the shit hit the fan, it sprayed everyone in its path, including me.
Huh, who's this now? Wonder if they could... Nah, who am I kidding? Holy shit, a fresh face. Haven't seen your like in years. Don't know what brought you to the most dangerous corner of this solar system, pal, but you're welcome here. Oh, you talked to Lex yet? She tell you to keep it civil? You wouldn't guess to talk to her, but that lady's got a mean left hook. Some kind. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Got into reporting thinking I was gonna be some sort of public intellectual. What a joke. Spent 95% of my time playing stenographer to the board, and the rest writing puff pieces on the chairman's latest beard trim. Real life and death shit. When the project fell apart, Spacer's Choice refused to extract me. They left me here to rot. Listen, I hate asking for handouts, but my back's against the wall here. If you're going back out there, do you think you'd be willing to do an old bastard a small favor? Told you I was a journalist, right? I was here on a story back when Project Gorgon was active. I was doing an interview series for Spacer's Choice. Recorded them all on these little portable phonographs. But when everything fell to shit, Spacer's Choice wouldn't let me leave. Terms of my reporting contract unmet, they said. Right on the money. Look at me, I'm no fighter. I've never even touched a gun. But you're just the right amount of rough around the edges. Help me get my recordings back so I can finally get the hell out of here. Someone had been trying to steal them since the day my assistant and I started interviewing. Couldn't even keep them in my safe. They always found a way in. So I took to hiding them all over the fucking asteroid. Thought I was so clever. What a fool I was. Oh, Georgie? Yeah, she helped me with interviews. A real whiz with the portable recorder tech, too. When things got crazy, I shoved her onto the last ship off Gorgon. With any luck, she's safe and comfortable in Byzantium. She tried every which way to stay, but it was my contract keeping us here, not hers. Didn't seem fair she'd have to suffer just because I made a bad deal. Oh, I've tried, make no mistake. I've caught a couple of rides out with sublight folks, but the board's fixers always send me right back. And I'm not about to stand toe-to-toe with marauders just to fulfill a line item on a contract. No shit? That's downright civilized of you. All right. One of them I stashed in the Office of Creative Incubation, in the projector room on the 3rd floor. I gave another to my friend Birdie to keep in her apartment, just outside OCI's upper entrance. Seems like a good idea at the time. Someone had started a fire, folks were shooting other folks. It was a madhouse. You'll find another in the chem lab. It's in the main lab storage room. The final one is in human inquiry and auditing. It's tucked behind a pipe in observation room B. What with the test subjects running loose, the researchers were surprisingly unobservant. That's more than I've been able to hope for in years. Thank you.
What's the story with this place anyhow?
Used to be a shipping warehouse. Supplies came in, deadly chemicals went out.
What have you got there? Adrenatime, I think. Found some in an old busted crate.
Someone's in here! Oh, well. It's coming back up again. I'm all right. That last one really emptied my place.
As a medical professional, I gotta say, that is very well preserved and disgusting.
Ugh, I really hope this ain't a sign of things to come.
So... Lucky's problem was that he was always overconfident in himself. But us? We got this, whatever it is.
Whatever's out here, it better be worth carrying around in his eyeball.
You have an unpaid balance. This unit is watching.
This place is starting to remind me of home.
Time for a drink?
This is my second month on Adrenatime. It's like the color came back. Like I was tuned to the wrong band all this time, and now the static's gone. I'm finally clear-headed, focused. There's so much I'm excited to do. I feel like me again. Side effects? I guess I've noticed people staring at me a lot more lately. Hard to talk to them sometimes. Feels like they don't get it. Maybe they just don't trust it. Or maybe they don't trust me.